Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer of the source material. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because honestly, we're tackling a topic that hits home for every single one of us, no matter where you are on your spiritual journey. So let's jump right into it. Today we're unpacking a brilliant piece of text based on Matthew chapter 15, verses 1 through 20. Our core theme? The heart of the matter, inner purity and truth. You know, we spend so much time in our modern world perfectly curating our outward appearance, don't we? But this text? It's going to strip all of that away and really force us to look at what's lying right beneath the surface. It's challenging, for sure, but ultimately it's incredibly freeing.
So I want to start by having you do a quick mental audit. Are you more focused on how you look or who you actually are? It's kind of a tough question, right? Think of your life like a giant iceberg. That visible 10% sitting above the water, that's your outward appearance, your reputation, the stuff you let people see. But that massive 90% hidden beneath the surface, that is your core, that is your heart. And what this source material teaches us is that if we're spending all our energy just polishing that top 10% while totally ignoring the 90% underneath, well, we're basically setting ourselves up for disaster.
Which brings us to section 1, the outward appearance trap, missing the point.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at a historical precedent, the Pharisees. Now, these guys were the ultimate rule followers. They were absolutely obsessed with optics. They wanted to make sure everyone saw them doing the right things, so they focused heavily on outward traditions, especially stuff like physical cleanliness and public perception. But Jesus, he completely redirects the conversation. When they challenged him about hand-washing rituals, he doesn't even debate hygiene with them. Instead, he pivots entirely to the internal condition, making it crystal clear that God cares deeply about what's actually happening inside us. It's this major clash between surface-level compliance and deep internal reality.
And Jesus gives them a really specific diagnosis. He says, they honor God with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. And guys, this is the ultimate danger of hypocrisy, because it's entirely possible, and honestly pretty common, to look perfectly right on the outside. You can say all the right words, perform the empty rituals, project this flawless image, all while being completely and utterly distant from God on the inside. It's a pretty sobering thought. I mean, you can fool the people around you with surface-level obedience for a while, but you literally cannot fool God. He just isn't impressed by the outward show if your core is completely empty.
All right, let's move into section 2, the heart of the matter, the core shift.
See, God desires a genuine, authentic relationship with us, not just some surface-level obedience. He doesn't want robotic rule followers. He wants our hearts. And grasping this creates a massive core shift in how we approach our day-to-day lives. It moves us from asking, am I doing everything right, to, is my heart actually aligned with God? Which brings us to this incredibly radical statement in Matthew 15:18. But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. Jesus is emphatically saying here that true purity isn't about what goes into your body from the outside world. No, it's about what spills out of it from the inside. You aren't defiled by skipping a hand-washing ritual. You're defiled by the toxic stuff brewing inside you that eventually finds its way out.
So we really need to clearly define what we mean by the heart. In this context, we aren't talking about the muscle pumping blood in your chest. The heart is the invisible source. It's the spring from which all your thoughts, your words, and your actions actually flow. Think of a natural water spring, right? If the source of that spring is polluted, then every single drop of water flowing down the stream is going to be polluted too. You can't just filter the water downstream and expect the source to magically be clean. But when that core spring, your heart, is clean and aligned with God, your outward life will naturally and effortlessly reflect that.
So the million-dollar question is, how do we actually live this out? How do we purify the spring? Well, the text gives us 3 tangible steps. Step 1, spend time with God beyond just your routine habits. Break out of the empty rituals and seek a real, genuine connection. Step 2, ask God to reveal areas where your heart might be distant, because sometimes we're completely blind to our own internal pollution. We actually need to ask Him to shine a spotlight on those hidden areas. And step 3, focus on sincere growth, not just appearance. Basically, stop worrying about the 10% of the iceberg above the water and start tending to the 90% below.
And that leads perfectly into section 3, words as a window, the evidence.
So, how do we know what's truly in our heart if it's totally invisible? Well, our everyday speech gives us a direct look. If you want to know the health of your hearts, literally just listen to the words you use every day. Jesus specifically lists symptoms like evil thoughts, anger, lies, and slander. Now, we often love to excuse these things, right? We'll say things like, oh, I was just super stressed, or I just lost my temper, that's not who I really am. But the text argues the exact opposite. These destructive behaviors, they aren't random mistakes or little accidents. They're symptoms. They are the inevitably overflow of what is already stored deep within you. If anger comes out of your mouth, it's because anger was stored in your heart. If lies come out, it's because deception has already taken root inside.
Let this sink in for a second. Your words and your reactions are a literal window into your hidden heart. You cannot truly change your outward words if bitterness, pride, or resentment are still hanging out inside. I mean, sure, you might be able to bite your tongue for a day or maybe even a week, but eventually, under pressure, whatever is inside is absolutely going to spill out. That window is going to reveal the truth. So, if you want to change what you say, you have to change who you are at the core.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, Guarding Your Heart, the fix.
Now, I definitely don't want to leave you feeling discouraged here, because the beautiful, amazing news is that we aren't stuck with polluted hearts forever. When we actually allow God to transform our hearts from the inside out, our words and our reactions will naturally begin to reflect His truth, His love, and His grace. It's not about just trying harder to be a good person. It's about allowing a fundamental transformation of your core. So here's how you execute the spiritual audit in your daily life. First, pay attention to your words. Use them as the diagnostic tool they are meant to be. Catch yourself when you speak out of anger or pride, and recognize what it actually means. Second, confess those areas where your heart needs healing. Don't hide them, just acknowledge that the spring needs some cleaning. And third, actively invite God's truth and love to fill your heart. Because when you fill your heart with grace, grace is exactly what will spill out when life bumps into you.
If we had to distill this entire explainer down to a single, powerful directive based on the prayer from our source, it would literally be this one thing. Guard your heart. Ask God to cleanse it, to completely remove the things that don't reflect Him, and to make it entirely new. Once you do that, everything else in your life, your actions, your reputation, your relationships, all of it will naturally flow from that inner place of purity and truth. To wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on today. What do your recent words or reactions reveal about what is actually going on inside you? Take a moment, just be really honest with yourself. I'm going to leave you with a few seconds of silence so you can truly reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep focusing on the core, and I'll catch you next time.